Hi guys, welcome back to Spice Channel TV. Thank you for always coming out here. If you're joining us for the first time, please kindly subscribe and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Recently, some certain regions have expressed surprise that the Southeasterners are quiet amid the escalating hardship and tensions and the protests within the country. Recently, Professor Usman Yusuf had called to the attention of President Tinubu to go find out why the Southeast is quiet. Because when you go to other regions in the country, there are protests here and there. People shouting that the economy is going down, staging protests, carrying power cards, but yet the Southeasterners have been mute all this while. Now, the big question is, why have the Southeasterners been quiet amid the pressure in the country? Professor Joseph Ono has decided to take Nigerians down through historical lane. Yes, my country people. Now, the Southeast is quiet because since after the Civil War, the Southeast has continued to be dealt with extreme hardship and had suffered in the midst of plenty, while other regions are basked in riches and power, with a section of regions feeling very entitled. The Southeast is quiet because after the Civil War, their properties in the South were taken from them, and they claim that they were abandoned. The Southeast may be quiet because they've started their life afresh after the Civil War. The Southeast is quiet today because they have the least number of representatives in both chambers of the National Assembly. The Southeast is quiet because they are the only region with the least number of states in the nation. The Southeast has decided to keep quiet because they are the only region with the least federal government presence in almost all areas. And the Southeast have decided not to protest because they have the least federal government project in their region till date. They've decided to keep mute because the the administration, they've never benefited from the administration of Buhari's government, even Tinubu's government. They never benefited from the rail projects the federal government had embarked on during the last administration that focused mainly in the north. That is why the Southeast is quiet, because they are the only region with the highest number of security checkpoints on the road leading to their states. It is easier to drive past Ukraine than to drive past Southeast, because the number of security checkpoints in the Southeast is alarming. They are the only region with an international airport, yet no international airline departs from the Southeasterners airport region, except for the Ethiopia Airlines that saved the day, and the only international airport is still under construction. So at this point, the Southeasterners have decided to keep mute because the only major mining activity, which is coal, has been abandoned for several years after the Eagle Mining Company left in the 90s, and the federal government has never showed any interest in it. The Southeasterners are quiet because even the railway properties in their region has been stolen, has been sold, so the dream of a railway is totally forgotten in the Southeast. The Southeasterners is quiet because they are the only region being punished by the ruling party for exercising their democratic voting right for the choice of their own candidate. The Southeasterners have decided to distance themselves from the problems of Nigeria because their region has its building demolished and other businesses closed down in other regions in Nigeria. So once they try to exercise some levels of franchise, they come and destroy their properties. They destroy their businesses. Their buildings are being demolished. There are various forms of hostilities of extreme levels being leveled on the Southeasterners. The Southeasterners now has decided to keep mute because they are the only region that are threatened by withdrawal of sales supply and distribution of food foodstuffs, livestock, and other agricultural produce by certain regions once they surpass the divergent views in some Nigeria. So the Southeasterners have decided to keep quiet because they are the least employed in the CBN, in the FAAN, in other major federal government agencies and departments in Nigeria. So at this point, the Southeasterners have said no, they are going to keep quiet because they are the least beneficiaries of any government policies in Nigeria. It's as if they are not in this country. They are being marginalized. Nothing is going towards their region. So they've decided to keep mute because the extent of neglect from the federal government towards the southeastern region is alarming. And even in the midst of abundance, the southeasterners are still, trying to work to see how they can fend for themselves. So at this point, the Southeasterners have said to themselves that rather than go out to protest against the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they've decided to keep mute. They've decided to watch how everything is being played out. Because back then they were saying it is not the turn of the Igbos, that no Igbo can ever rule in Nigeria, that nobody from the southeastern part of Nigeria will ever rule this country. That was what some certain personalities were saying back then during the 2023 presidential elections. So the Southeasterners is not taking part in any protest against the economic hardship because they are tired. They are tired of this country. So right now they are just watching, looking how things are being played out, and some certain persons are still dragging the Southeasterners that they are pained, yet they refuse to voice out. Now when they voice out, they will say they are crying. Now that they are not voicing out, they are still dragging the Southeasterners. At this point, they've said no, everybody should, stay on their own. And at this point, it seems that they are the ones progressing. Because right now, every Igbo man is a businessman. Once the price of things skyrocket, they tend to add it to their sales and they make more profit. So who is the one losing? It seems they are the ones benefiting from the high price of goods in this country. So guys, what are your thoughts on this? When this Northerner, Usman Yusuf, had called out to the president to get his attention, to find out why Igbos are not complaining. I was quite surprised that even the Northerners are quite aware that the Southeasterners have chosen to distance themselves from this. Guys, I'm dropping here. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comment section. Thank you.